Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Curlin Community Connection. We're having a conversation today with the Big Cheese, Director of Nutrition Services, Patti Bilbrey. Hi Patti, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing, Eric?
I'm terrific. I want to just say to the guests that are out there watching that we had a little bit of a hiccup, so we're getting started a little bit late. And by way of introduction, I'll be asking you some questions, and you're going to
Okay.
introduce yourself. But for now, if anybody out there wants to ask Patti any questions centered around food services here in the district during this time of pandemic, especially, go ahead and type that into the comment bar on Facebook, and we'll try to get it answered. Hey, Patti, you are the Big Cheese in charge of nutrition services. How long have you been with the district?
15 years, and I've been director red at 10.
15
And before
years?
that, I was 4 years in a little town called Picayune, Mississippi. But I'm born and raised in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. So
Really?
here at SUSD, yep.
Did not know. Can you take us through your schooling? What schools you attended?
So Phoenix College, right out of school, and ASU. I was a graphic design major. How I ended up in school food is kind of a unique situation. It's when I moved, I actually worked for Scottsdale Memorial Hospital. That brings you back to the time that was called Scottsdale Memorial Hospital. I was a diet tech there, and I worked in the diet office doing all of the menu planning and correcting of menus and doing just different stuff with the patients. And then when we moved to Mississippi, I looked for a job, and I found a job as a secretary at the school food service department. And within 2 months, they asked if I would be the director. I didn't know what I was doing, and that's where I learned. And luckily, of all things, Mississippi has an amazing training module. So from there, I went, had gone to ASU as well. But then from there, I took some business and nutrition courses that were required for the state of Mississippi. You couldn't just have another major. You had to do different types of training and have some nutrition background, which I had some for the hospital, but I went on from that. And so did it through University of Southern Mississippi, USM.
Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, and then we decided we got our minds got right, and we decided to move back to Arizona. And I thought I would never work in school food again because who would give up a job like that? So there would not be one open. Came back and found out that they had an operations manager open in school food service. So I started working there in 2005 is when I came back.
Wow. Did you
I
attend?
loved it and would never leave. I love it here.
Yeah. Did you attend any of the Scottsdale schools as a child?
I did not. So I grew up on 40th Street in Indian School, and I graduated high school in 1982. And back then, 40th Street was the cutoff for
Right.
for Phoenix Union High School and for Scottsdale. So I actually lived much closer to Arcadia, but I was a Camelback Spartan, graduated in 82. And I went to what was then Squaw Peak Elementary, which is now Biltmore.
Okay. Well, you're still kind of homegrown. I would
I
say that's
am.
close enough.
I was in a service organization here in Scottsdale, so all of my friends really actually all went to Scottsdale schools.
Yeah.
You know,
And you
so
and you had actually worked over there at the old Ed Center on
I
44th and
did.
Indianola. So
Did.
you were
I
really
did.
close.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm one of those ancient ones that have been there. So,
Yeah. Well, and happy Mother's Day to you.
well,
My
thank you.
understanding is that you have a young girl, right? A child?
Well, she's not. She would love for you to say she's young, and I'd love
Well,
for you
she's
to.
married with a kid.
No, she's 29, not married. 6-year boyfriend, but not married yet. But she's 29 years old, and she just moved back from Oregon. So we're kind of excited to have her here because she's been gone ever since she left for college. She hasn't been with us, so it's kind of nice to have her back in the same city.
Yeah, terrific. Hey, how are you doing health-wise? Everything good with you and your family?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Knock on wood, we've been very blessed in our department here because, we're on the front lines. We're out there every, week handing out food through car windows to hundreds of thousands of people, and nobody's gotten sick. So, I'm very blessed,
Yeah.
and our team's
Um,
blessed.
yeah, and this is a really serious time, and this shows your strength as a leader. When you can deflect all of the praise to all of your teammates, that's the sign of a leader, right? No, really. I mean, leaders take the insults and give out the compliments. And right now, your team is called, you refer to them affectionately enough as Team Awesome.
Because they are. There's no
That's it.
other thing to call them. They are. And you know what? I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. I'd have no job if it weren't for them. They are amazing and they inspire me every day. And I'm not just saying that, I mean it. And this pandemic has really, to me, even shown that light brighter on this team to show their resilience and their compassion and just everything they'll do for everybody and at their own risk. And, you know, there's not often you get to see that in your team. And it just humbles me every day to be around them.
Yeah, I feel our organization here in Scottsdale is strong because of the different components, and definitely the education support professionals of the nutritional service team are front and center, especially during this pandemic. Can you take us through basically how you started off with lunches every day into where you are right now?
Okay, so, you know, obviously I flew home from Washington, D.C. I was at a conference there and I flew home on March 11th. And of course, Friday the 13th is when all of a sudden there was this, what are we going to do? Are we keeping schools open or are we not? By that Sunday, the 15th, you know, schools have been closed. We had to turn around and figure out what were we going to do. And Monday morning we served breakfast. And we, at the beginning, thought, what are we going to do? We had come off spring break. We had to figure out how we were going to bring in the right foods, cancel other trucks because we only have 4 sites open on that first day. We had, 26 sites that were still not going to have deliveries. We had to do all that cancellations, move everything, and this was over the weekend. So we went to once a day service where we could do breakfast and lunch together, which was a very quick waiver that the USDA allowed. That's not normal. Normally you have to do breakfast during breakfast time and lunch during lunch. However, they let us do them together for the ease of the parent, which was good. Then once the state decided to allow, the state had to apply for a waiver to allow us to do weekly meal service. We moved to that because we felt like it was just a better thing for our staff because there was limiting exposure amongst themselves and the public. Plus the public wasn't having to drive in every single day and expose themselves as well. So it was a win-win for everybody. It was a challenge, I will say, because the supply chain is now a little better, but it was an ugly situation. It was every day wondering what we were getting in, what we had, did we have enough food to make it through? It was a challenge. The very first day of service in district, we served 490 meals. Now that's a breakfast and a lunch for each child. So 490. We're now doing close to 23,000 meals. So that,
wait, let's stop just for a moment. I got to wrap my head around that. You started at 490 meals about a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. You're now at 23,000.
Which equates at about 4,500 meals a day. So we have, I mean, it's unbelievable. That's what we serve in one day, every Wednesday, right about 23,000.
And how do, for people that could be watching and maybe have a neighbor that's hungry, first of all, these are meals for any child between 0 and 18 years old.
Correct.
Nobody checks.
They don't have to be students in the district. They actually don't even need to be in the car with them. We do ask that, families be mindful of to just go through once and get for what they need, not more than, because we don't want to have to turn away somebody that we ran out of food, because we want to be able to give it to everybody. But let's say you've got a first grader and a third grader in the district, but you also have a child who's 2 years old at home or 3 years old at home. You can still get the meals for that, or an 18-year-old that's graduated, or perhaps you're babysitting for another family that they have no choice but to go to work and you've got some kids at your home. You can get meals for every child that's in your home. They don't have to be related to you. You can also get them for neighbors, and we have that happening. We have a group of ladies that come, they're real sweet. It's like a little group of grandmas, and they're getting 12 meals every day. And every day they tell us, oh, this is for our neighbors. And we're like, we understand, it's okay. Because not everybody has a car and can make it, or they may have they've got little children at home that they can't load up and drive in, so somebody's helping them out. And that's perfectly fine to do.
That's wonderful. And you have continued to monitor and adjust to do this kind of continuous improvement, which is the sign of great leadership. You take what you've been given and this is kind of lemons into lemonade.
There's no better explanation than this whole pandemic. Never in my life did I think I would be dealing with something this complex, but it's also been super gratifying to say we turned a situation that could have been just horrible and made the best of it we could. I mean, and we laugh through it because every day is a new challenge, but you just get through it. You just do. And you do it for the kids. So when you stand out there and you hand those families those meals and they're so appreciative, and the kids are all but like wanting to like launch out of the car because they see their cafeteria manager. They don't care about me. They care about, like Miss Ellen, and they want to hug them, but they can't. But, that's really gratifying to see that we're doing the right thing for the community. And I think it also adds a little bit of connection to the physical campus because they miss that campus. So they kind of see some of the staff. They're getting to drive by their school. They get their school lunch products that they're used to getting. So it kind of is that connection that maybe is missing right now being at home. So we're happy to be able to provide that for kids.
How often do you find yourself crying tears of happiness?
All the time. Sometimes I'm, especially at the beginning, it was, you don't realize the need that's really out there until you hear people's stories. And with this, it wasn't just your typical families that we've seen forever or that maybe even qualify for free and reduced. It's people who lost their jobs and did not expect to be where they are. We're hearing a lot of really touching stories, and it just makes you feel really good for what we do. And I mean, I think all of us who are in education of any sense, no matter what your role is here in a school, we do this for the kids. We're not doing it to get rich, clearly. We're getting rich in other ways. It's maybe not the monetary ways, but it's a way to just say, you know what, we do this for the love of our kids. And I personally love how this has made our staff feel, because it makes them feel like they truly are a part of the educational experience and that they really are the rock stars they are. And, we're kind of support services. We're behind the scenes a lot. So it makes me proud to see our staff being recognized the way.
I gotta say, when I was growing up, I had two other brothers, 1 year ahead of me and 1 year ahead of that other one. And my mom worked two jobs. So when we went to school, that was where we chowed down and we ate. Mm-hmm. And I was very good friends with the cafeteria ladies and men that were back there.
You're good people to be friends with.
Oh my gosh. I remember coming through, one of my favorite days was fish sticks and spaghetti. And they'd make this big pan of spaghetti and they put squares of mozzarella cheese on top. Mm-hmm. And they would always save me a square of cheese, no matter where I was. And I was a horrible kid. I mean, I misbehaved. I'd go to the principal a lot, but I was always nice to the cafeteria people.
Because they're nice back at you. Exactly.
They took care of me. Can I just say, cafeteria food has changed a little bit in my time. Yes. You and I are about the same age. For 65 cents, we used to get 1.5 grilled cheese, mm-hmm. a thing of chicken noodle soup, mm-hmm. a little thing of French fries, a little salad with good seasons Italian dressing, and a milk. And I was stoked.
And then there was it seemed like there was dessert like 3 times a week. Peanut butter pie was my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like we can't even do desserts,
I was strange in that I would always trade my dessert for like a hamburger or a piece of grilled cheese or something. I was always upselling.
But can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Was your grilled cheese on sourdough bread?
No, absolutely not. Come on, let's get real.
There's this big issue about sourdough bread. So I had to bring
it up. We're going to get into, you know what, just for that, we're going to get into cheese later on today. You're going to be cheese. We're going to put you on the cheese spotlight. But no, it's got to be white bread. It's got to be all the time. Speaking of white bread, Emmy says she's fortunate. Emmy from says SUSD is so fortunate to have you. So another kudos to you. Julie C is asking if there's anything the general public can do to help out.
Well, honestly, right now, no. It's just I would just ask for everybody's continued prayers and support that our staff stays healthy and ready to meet this challenge. I do want to let everybody know, too, that we right now will be serving through Wednesday, June 24th, because the USDA has these waivers set to expire June 30th. They may be extended. We don't know, but we can't do anything until they're extended. So we will continue to serve every Wednesday through that. Right now, we've got all the staff we need. If it ever gets to the point where we need to call in volunteers, I know the people to get that going. So
Yeah.
right now we're good. And I know people have asked about donating money or food. And honestly, we get reimbursed for every meal we serve from the federal government. We're good. We're fine.
So it is not a losing situation for the districts.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's
a
not a
little
losing
bit.
situation. What's a losing situation is the fact that we aren't serving, we're a low free and reduced district. So we are not seeing the type of participation we're used to every day. We're serving about 25% of what we normally do every day. So as far as our budget, yes, we're losing, but we're a good department. We're strong financial health, so we'll make it through this.
Okay.
So that's
We're
good
talking,
news.
we're talking with Patti Bilbrey, the Director of Nutrition Services for all of Scottsdale Unified School District. And go ahead and ask your questions. We'll try to get them to you, or go ahead and make your comments. We'll try to get those as well. You guys actually do a little bit of catering, don't you, to make some money for the general education fund, right?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, we do in-house catering, which is a drastic amount of catering, but we do, it's a catering operation, contract meal operation. We serve private parochial charter Head Starts, boys and girls clubs around the valley, and we do quite a large piece of business there. We're doing close to about $1.8 million a year in revenue with that. So with that, we're able to supplement our school meals and be able to provide higher quality products, to be able to eliminate some of the harmful seven, trying to give more high quality, cleaner label products.
Okay. One question about the meals you're serving now is that, are there certain kinds of meals that are more prevalent and other things that you just can't serve anymore because of the delivery?
So right now we're doing a lot more of what I would call the prepackaged items that come, so it's easy for a family, like even if a child has to microwave it themselves, it doesn't take a lot of preparation, or what we're calling take and bake. So we might take a lot because we have a warehouse full of product that we were set to serve. So it might be a breaded chicken patty. So we're giving them the frozen breaded chicken patty with all of the cooking instructions of how to cook it, either microwave or oven, both, how to make it. We've got like our burritos that are already pre-wrapped. We've gone to mostly that. Like we're not making bowls of spaghetti that's hot and handing it to them. We're giving them more of the convenience type foods. I hate to say that because people think, well, it must be bad for you. It's not. It meets all of our standards. It's still, healthy and has whole grains and low in sodium, low in fat. But we're being able to increase the variety by not just giving like just an uncrustable. We don't want to do that every day. We don't want to do that in a grilled cheese every day. So apparently you would eat one of those every day. Uh, but we are trying to increase
What
the
bread is that
variety.
on, Patty? Patty, what bread is that grilled cheese on?
That's on no, it's actually on whole grain, but it's on
Yeah.
the ultra grain that looks white.
Yeah.
So we do have, there's a company out there that makes these, for this COVID related emergency feeding, they've come up with their macaroni and cheese and their rotini and pasta sauce in individual pouches. They've made it in that. So we're freezing those, giving those out. They can thaw them, microwave or put them in a pan and boil and bag them. So it gives a little bit more variety. And so they have some hot foods too, not just sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, how let's just assume we're back in the buildings come August.
Mm-hmm.
You must have given some thought about how food services is going to have to change and adapt.
Right.
Can you kind of, and you don't have to say this is what we're going to do, but are there certain things that you're kind of throwing around, seeing so-called like putting the spaghetti and throwing it against the wall to see what sticks?
Well, obviously the CDC, their main recommendation was to feed in classrooms, not have a cafeteria setting that students would eat in the classroom. With that, I don't know if that's the way Scottsdale Unified is going to go. I mean, I've not heard how we're going to open. So anything I'm saying is truly just my thoughts on what we would do if that were to happen. I do have a company that we are associated with that we have thought about going to online mobile ordering, so that parents could go on order or a student could go on order their meals in advance, make it prepared and delivered to a classroom. We've thought about being able to do just simple, like multiple different grab and go sack lunches type situations We've with this, we would have some equipment we'd have to order, and so we need to know this pretty soon because I've got to get all the insulated bags in the carts and how to get it out to the classrooms. It's not as simple as just bringing it out. You have to follow temperature control. There's a lot to be thought of, and it takes more staff. It will take more staff to do that. It's not your normal service.
And here's what I'm thinking, Patti, and stick with me. We're going to have a lot of people coming up on the program that are movers and shakers and really make decisions. So, like, for instance, Wednesday, we're going to have the superintendent of all public schools, Kathy Hoffman. Next week, we hope to have the new superintendent of Scottsdale schools, Dr. Menzel. With the way the economic downturn is going to happen, a lot of people out of work, it seems like a way to stimulate the economy would actually to be putting more money into education so they can hire all these support professionals and teachers, or teacher aides to allow for social distancing, to allow for deep cleanings in the evening, like you have a cadre of people who work in the evenings to disinfect different tables. And so I can see where education is going to cost more money, but in the sense of the economy, more than just teaching, school is a place that allows for parents to go out to work.
Right.
Whether we don't want to say that we're childcare, but we are. We allow for parents to go and work.
Correct.
That is an important component of the economy. I think if we were to kind of have the heads of people who are really deep thinkers and say, okay, how do we get from A to B? I think we can look at maybe taking a few steps into supporting our schools with a little bit more in the way of staffing.
I would agree. There's one thing to note, though, with school food service, which most people don't understand. We are not part of the M&O budget. We rely solely on our revenues. So any increase in costs, we need to almost see an increase in revenue to be able to offset that. It is a little bit difficult. In fact, we do support the district on one hand because we do give back to the district. We last year gave $1.1 million back to the district through our indirect funds through the meals that we serve. It is, it's going to be a challenge with our budget, but we'll make it. We have a great team. And I'm telling you, we've already been discussing how are we going to do this? Yeah. Like we're not waiting for it to be like handed to us. We've got that. Throwing the spaghetti literally at the wall, trying to figure out, okay, if this happens, this is what we do. If this happens, this is what we do. Or at least these are our thoughts. Maybe it's not exactly what we do, but it's an idea for us to start jumping off. And we have some crazy ideas. But, crazy ideas spawn some really amazing ideas down the road. They may seem crazy, but they flesh out to be just what's needed. And I would agree that, adding some staff is probably going to be necessary and a cost to do business.
Yeah.
For us, at least. For us.
Okay. So, Patti Bilbrey, I've said you're the big cheese a few times, so you really are. There is a way that democracy flows, and it's through our schools. And the public schools are only as good as everybody pulling together, especially during this time. And the folks in food services have been just heroes. I mean, really have done incredible work. So
it's been our honor.
Give everybody a slap on the back, especially Tony over there at Oak Campus.
I know, he's amazing.
You can give him a punch in the arm.
I will. I'll tell him Eric did this.
Yeah. So later on in the week, folks, for those of you still in tune, we're going to have Terry Goddard on tomorrow at 5. We're going to be talking with the former governor candidate and attorney general of Arizona about the dark money. Wednesday is going to be Kathy Hoffman. Thursday is going to be labor attorney Stacey Gabrielson. So we'll talk to her about how people should go about opening up again and what kind of liability is involved. And then on Friday, we're going to have Scottsdale Parent Council Laura Pallas, along with her sister, the artist, Barry Ackerman. Now, Patti, we like to get to know our people a little bit. You are the big cheese, so I want to ask you some cheese trivia.
Ooh, I love cheese. Go for it.
Yeah, well, we all love cheese. Some of us have better taste with American on white. Okay, this is a true or false. Cheese existed before written language did.
I would say false.
I would say that's incorrect, young lady. It's true.
Oh,
That's
I kind of thought like hieroglyph. I don't know. Okay.
Well, okay.
How
about a multiple choice?
Okay.
Okay. Every pound of cheese requires how many pounds of milk? Is it 5, 10, or 15?
For every pound, I would say 5.
I would say that's incorrect, young lady. It's actually
Okay,
10.
Apparently I love my cheese. I just don't know my cheese.
These are tough questions. All right, let's go something a little bit up, a little bit more upstream, right in your alley there. Okay, this is right in your wheelhouse.
Okay, like what's my favorite cheese?
No. Okay, what is your favorite cheese?
Goat cheese, hands down.
Really?
Love it.
You throw that thing in a salad?
Everything.
Everything.
Yes, it's amazing. Love goat cheese.
Wow. Okay. Huh. Go figure. All right. What's the most popular cheese recipe in America? You probably serve it in your cafe. What?
I would say macaroni and cheese or cheese pizza.
Winner.
Yeah,
that's right. Macaroni and cheese. Mac and cheese. Very good. Which state in the United States produces the most cheese?
Wisconsin.
Okay. Building upon Wisconsin. True or false, the dairy state? True or false, that there used to be a law requiring restaurants to serve cheese with every meal?
It's just quirky enough to be true.
It is true.
I know, because I could just see those are those weird laws that just exist and nobody knows why.
Yeah, if they wanted to
probably stimulate their local economy.
If they want to increase the population, they would put that baby back on the books. Give me a hunk of sharp cheddar.
You got it.
Two more questions, all right? I want you to really think about this. I want you to think about what cheese is used for around the world. What type of cheese is consumed most around the world?
Around the world?
Everywhere. Across the world, this cheese is consumed the most.
A cheddar?
No, ma'am. Mozzarella.
That makes sense.
That does make sense.
And it is the best, isn't it? I love mozzarella.
Yeah, and we're going to end with this one. Which fast food giant in the United States uses the most amount of cheese?
McDonald's.
Pizza Hut.
Oh, I never even thought about pizza. I didn't even think about that.
Let you in with the mozzarella.
There's the whole deal about how Ray Kroc would deal with his cheese vendors for the year. So I totally went McDonald's. I did not do well on that.
You did fine. You did wonderfully. And who cares? What you do is you.
But I learned something because I'm going to be asking my staff tomorrow, hey, did you know? Or I'm going to ask them so I look all smart tomorrow.
There you go. Tomorrow. Well, you got a great job with some wonderful people. And you've been feeding the community and feeding our kids. And quite frankly, there is no better way to keep people engaged in studies with a full belly. I mean, we don't.
Well, I always tell people, and I know we got to go, but I always tell people if you're in your own meeting and it's getting to lunchtime and there's a speaker talking and they're going a little long, I'm starting to think what's for lunch? I'm not even listening to what they're saying. So imagine how our kids feel if they haven't. So that's what we always try and make sure that our kids have full bellies and ready to learn. That's our job.
For those of you playing at home, I do like a good smoked Gouda. Okay.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah. All right, Patti Bilbrey, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
Tomorrow we're going to have Terry Goddard. We'll see you on the streets giving out food.
All right, and I'll punch Tony for you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.